This is Beijing's most known rotten-tailed shopping district, the Shimao Gongsan Shopping Center. So far, it hasn't been able to find a company willing to take over the project. It has been depressed, doing poor business for many years. In fact, its location is great. Across the road is the famous Sanlitun Bar Street, which is less than 100 meters away in direct line. Not far ahead is the subway station. There aren't many stores open on the first floor here. I've seen the phrase, looking forward to its opening, around for 4 or 5 years. The first floor of a normal shopping center has the highest traffic flow, but it's quiet here. On one side, there is a big sell-off of special price products. On the other side, the stores aren't even open. There is only one store offering special discounts. Take a look at its dome. It's square like the old-fashioned classic department stores, but strangely enough, there is little foot traffic. The stores on the second floor are also basically all closed, except this one, which is a facility for playing ping pong, and there are still a few people there. When I got to the third floor, they were all closed. It is worth mentioning that there is a stand-up comedy theater that has performances on the weekends. It has some traffic, but only at that time of the day. This is the World Trade Center skyscraper in the heart of Beijing CBD. It's a big mall, but only 3 or 4 businesses are still open. This is the underground commercial center of the South Square of Beijing's West Railway Station. It is also very quiet, with no customers in the restaurants. This is the last Carrefour supermarket in Beijing, located at Siyuanchao, which has announced its suspension of business. Carrefour staff revealed that the store will undergo restructuring. The Siyuanchao store was not only Carrefour's first store constructed on its own property in China, but it was also built to be one of the largest shopping centers in Asia. At the time of its opening, the store had a floor area of more than 70,000 square meters and attracted many customers. However, with the passage of time and changes in the market environment, Carrefour's operation in Beijing is gradually facing challenges. This year, the last few Carrefour stores in Beijing have closed. What has happened to Carrefour supermarkets in China reflects the huge challenges facing the retail industry. Against the backdrop of the rapid rise of e-commerce platforms, traditional supermarkets have to face a series of problems such as declining customer traffic and rising operating costs. Of course, not only supermarkets but also retail malls in Beijing are having a hard time.
This
is Tiantongyuan in Beijing, the so-called largest neighborhood in Asia, but it can even support a large supermarket. In the last couple of days, this supermarket, CSF Market, has been clearing out its stock. It's one of the oldest supermarkets in the Tiantongyuan area and even older than the Carrefour, but now it's about to close its doors.
The woman who made the video said that in the past 2 years, the big supermarkets in the neighborhood of Tiantongyuan have closed down one by one. However, in daily life, the community supermarket is still quite important. Especially for the elderly who aren't accustomed to online shopping, it is indispensable. She further pointed out that this year, Beijing's supermarkets are facing enormous pressure. Many supermarkets have seen a significant decrease in customer traffic, and economic pressures have caused a major downgrade in people's spending power and interest. Many stores in the mall are closed, and there are very few people shopping. She is in the IT industry. Last year, she lost her job and hasn't found a new one yet. To cope with the financial pressure, she tries to minimize her expenses and avoid unnecessary spending. She also said that many people around her are facing the same difficulties, and various industries are all struggling to survive. Life has become extremely difficult, and their spending habits have changed dramatically. The owner of this brick-and-mortar store said bluntly that he really doesn't know how to do business nowadays, and where have all the people gone? Previously, we had to endure the epidemic for 3 years. By spring, the mall was still empty. People said the weather was nice, and people went out to enjoy the outdoors. When the shopping mall was still empty during the May Day holiday, we consoled ourselves by saying that the holiday was long and people had gone on vacation. Now it's the Dragon Boat Festival, a 3-day holiday with high temperatures outside, but the mall is still quiet no matter whether it's for retail, entertainment, or food and beverage. This boss explained that in Beijing nowadays, whether it is for food, drink, clothing, or entertainment, every industry is trying to attract customers through discounts and promotions. However, there are fewer and fewer consumers, and the cost of rent, social security, and wages hasn't decreased at all. This has created an odd situation in the real economy. Consumption is falling, but the rent of the merchants isn't reduced during the contract period, and the payment arrears have become more frequent. Many physical businesses have to close down. Business owners are calling for effective regulatory and management measures from the authorities. If discounts are allowed to continue, it will eventually lead to a situation where rounds of promotion will reduce profit margins to the point of not being able to cover the operating costs. What will be waiting for these merchants then? A worse recession and market chaos. Consumers in China have lost a lot of money in the past few years due to severe epidemic control. Hundreds of thousands of home-based businesses and small and medium-sized enterprises have gone bankrupt, and years of family savings have been wiped out. In the recovery phase after the epidemic, China's economy experienced a full-blown downturn not seen in decades. Some consumers aren't necessarily strapped for cash, but are simply holding on to their money because they feel pessimistic about the economic outlook. Some analysts say that if retailers use price cuts as their main competitive tool, it will force suppliers to cut costs and squeeze profit margins. In turn, it'll lead to slower wage growth or greater reliance on low-paid casual labor, and ultimately weaker household demand. According to a professor of economics at Monash University in Australia, if this situation continues, China will be caught in what we call a vicious cycle. Low value-added consumption, deflation, and low margins leading to low wages, which in turn will force consumers to cut back on spending. Meanwhile, Beijing's food and beverage industry is facing a serious challenge. This is the food court near Wangjing, Soho. It's after 5 p.m. and there's basically no one there. Many stores are closed. These stores have now become a resting place for delivery riders. Many of them are still newly decorated, but they are empty.
It's 7 p.m. in Beijing, time for dinner. As we can see, Beijing's food and beverage industry is pretty much dead. At the end of this building, there was a pizza store, but now it's closed down, and it's dark there. This is a shared kitchen for takeouts. Basically, half of the stores are already out of business. The ones that are still open aren't doing well. There are very few takeout orders. The takeout market in Beijing is terrible.
This is the first floor of the mall. A lot of stores have closed down, and many storefronts look worn and tattered. In Beijing, the people who know the food and beverage industry best are the secondhand stores and equipment recyclers. They have experienced the ups and downs of the industry through their contact with a large number of unused and disposed items from the food and beverage industry. Remember what shopping malls in Beijing used to be like? Today, Brother Dog went to collect a closed restaurant in a shopping mall. The whole mall was quiet. I thought it would be hard to work on a holiday because I had to avoid the crowds, but I realized there was no one here except the security guards. The man with the screen name Brother Dog is a recycler of secondhand catering equipment. He revealed that one shouldn't assume that it's easy to enter the catering industry with a deposit of 400,000 to 500,000 yuan. In Beijing, there are many examples of people who have opened the wrong restaurant and gone bankrupt in no time. More than 50% of the restaurant owners that Brother Dog has come into contact with have lost more than 500,000 yuan. For newcomers to the food and beverage industry, once you have put all your savings into it, there is no chance of a turnaround if you make a slight mistake. Today's restaurant industry will never return to the splendor of a decade ago. Figures show that 460,000 restaurants closed in Beijing in the first quarter of 2024, and that's just the number that are registered, not including those that left no trace behind. Most of the restaurant owners are middle-aged. Having invested their savings of more than a decade in the business, they ultimately lost all their money, making it stressful to get back on their feet. Given such a difficult environment in 2024, the sharp increase in Beijing's unemployment rate has attracted widespread attention. But since the Bureau of Statistics no longer discloses specific data, many people don't know the unemployed number. However, despite the lack of transparency in official data, people can sense the severity of the unemployment problem based on daily observations. Some people quit their jobs because they can't stand the unreasonable leadership and poor working conditions, while others find out that their companies have closed down after coming back from a weekend break. They become unemployed by default. To avoid making compensation payments, some companies force their employees to leave their jobs by various means. Those people are stuck in a difficult situation as they deal with the company. Recently, 2 more friends around me lost their jobs. They are aged between 35 and 40. One friend worked in the IT industry with a monthly salary of over 20,000 yuan, but he was dismissed due to the company's poor performance. Despite the compensation offered by the company, he has been actively looking for jobs, submitting hundreds of resumes. He has yet to find a suitable job. Another friend who used to work for an insurance company has been dismissed too. He has found a customer service job for the time being. After all, life goes on. Not only has it become difficult to find a job this year, but many companies and training organizations have also closed their doors. There are several reasons for this. Competition in all sectors has become extremely fierce. The dividends of the era are gradually disappearing, and the transparency of information has made the information gap disappear, resulting in a lot of middlemen exiting the market. Manufacturers began to use live and e-commerce to sell directly, cutting out many middle links, which has led to a large number of people out of work. Walking down the street nowadays, you can see more and more young people working in takeout and express delivery, and there are even a lot of female riders. These phenomena show that unemployment is impacting more and more young people. Due to the low entry barrier, many unemployed people have flocked to the takeout delivery industry. However, the number of people ordering takeout is now dropping straight down, and the price of an order has fallen from 7 or 8 yuan to 4 or 5 yuan. To make ends meet, these riders work hard from morning until late at night. They are what people call delivery boys, but they are also the breadwinners of many families. Many young people are forced to take up traditional jobs such as cleaning, security, and babysitting. In the face of such a tough employment situation, their choices seem to be increasingly narrow. Whether they quit their jobs on their own, become unemployed passively, or are forced to change jobs, these are all true reflections of the employment pressure in today's society. In the future, how to ease the pressure on employment and create more high-quality job opportunities will be a challenge the society will have to face together. Mr. Chai, a Beijing resident, told overseas Chinese media that according to his observation, about 5 out of 10 people in Beijing are unemployed. Many people around him are unemployed, and some have even fallen on hard times and ended their lives in despair, news of which is often officially kept under wraps.